Hey, it's Terry Bontemps. Hey, let's talk about real estate. One of my favorite subjects. Hey, let's talk about real estate and how you can become a millionaire. Let's talk about how you can take 99% out of the guesswork out of investing because of the facts I'm going to share with you when it comes to buying houses, notes, rehabbing, renting, and flipping houses. So you can have an accurate projection of your profits and your risk, your upside and your downside. You'll know your returns, your monthly cash flow, yearly cash flow for your rental portfolio. It's all numbers. It's all about the numbers. Because if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your real estate investing business. From knowing these key performance indicators, you can teach your kids and teens about how investing works. Mothers, you can teach your sons and daughters financial literacy. You can use these KPIs, these key performance indicators, to teach your children about investing, handling their money, and saving their money. Fathers, teach your children about how investing works, again, with these KPIs that I'll be showing you. This is a fun way to learn about making money, managing investments, taking risks, and making financial decisions. This way your children will become ready for investing in real estate with real money. Teach your children financial literacy so that they can be financially independent. All right. I got 9 key performance indicators. And what that means is there's 9 different categories that I'm going to teach you about real estate investing. But first of all, I want you guys to understand these charts. At the bottom, okay, where you see the white letters going at an angle at the bottom, these are real estate deals. And the analysis that I've done on 15 different investment properties. And I want to show you guys the 9 different ways that these 15 properties have produced data, statistics that we can study so that we can get a high profits, how we can get less risk when I'm investing in real estate. I've been investing in real estate since, I bought my first house in 1980, started teaching in 2001, and I gathered all the data from most of my real estate deals, and I've developed a mobile app called Bank Foreclosure Millionaire that you can go into and learn and practice buying, selling, and managing houses. Okay, so we're going to start. First of all, I look at these key performance indicators. I'm going to say pancakes. Now you stack pancakes on top of each other. Okay, some people only have one, but let's imagine you stack 9 pancakes on top of each other, and they all have maybe a different flavor, a different meaning. That's how I look at these key performance indicators. And then if you had a house and the house was those pancakes, you'll see just different sections that you can look at that, again, has the data, the analysis, and again, you use these different key performance indicators to look at your deals in different manners. I always talk about the Rubik's Cube. When you turn the Rubik's Cube, you see something different, okay? These 9 different key performance indicators I use every single deal that we do, okay? And I have my students explain these key performance indicators to make sure they understand how to look at real estate investments. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start with the total profit, okay? I want you guys to pay close attention to 4 areas to the right. If you take a look at Holly's note, okay, Holly's no deal is to the right. Always pay attention to that every time I go to a key performance indicator, okay? And on this deal, she made $400,000. That's how much she made on one deal, $400,000. Next to hers is Ron's, okay? And Ron is a commercial deal. He bought a note. It's like Holly bought a note. Ron made $1.2 million on one real estate deal. And if you go to the right 2 spots, that's a third note that I bought. The first note I ever bought was a third note. I didn't know what I was doing. And my profit was $9,227 after 1 year. Okay, and if you go to the left, you're going to see 6 bulk notes, okay, that was done in 90 days. I want you to pay attention, and again, I made $185,900 on that, but pay attention to those 4 profits, and then I want you to go to the left, all the way to the far end, and we're going to look at the cash buyers profits, which was $30,000, and then there's a fix and flip for $35,000. Okay, I want you to pay real close attention to those 6 different deals as we move forward. Okay, next, again, the first level is total profit. Next, I'm going to go into the total investment. What did we have to invest in order to make those profits? So again, we go to Holly, and you see her at the far right. She invested $9,000. I just want to show this to you. She invested $9,000 to make the $400,000. Okay, so if you looked at Holly, she made the $400,000 profit, and we're looking at invest. She invested $9,000. Okay, on the commercial deal, Ron invested $110,000 to do his deal. To the far right, okay, the far right, that's the third lien that I bought. I invested $1,200 into that. Then when I go back to the 6 notes, again to the left, I invested $33,700. Okay, to make the profit. So again, those 4 deals are on the right, are notes. Okay, and then I showed you earlier the profit. So one more time, Holly invested $9,000, Ron invested $110,000, I invested $1,200 on that third note, and then the 6 notes, okay, I invested $33,700, and I'm going to go back one more time so you can see the profits. Holly made $400,000, Ron made 1.2, I made $9,227, and on the 6 notes, okay, $185,900 profits. So again, let's look to the far left. Okay, the far left, you're going to see that the cash buyer, and a cash buyer is someone that was given a deal by a wholesaler. A wholesaler flipped this deal to the cash buyer. So the cash buyer invested $120,000. Okay, the fix and flipper was someone that found the deal themselves. They fixed it up and they sold it using a realtor. They staged it. They hired the contractors. Again, they hired the realtors. They sold the property. They invested $115,000. So let's take a look. Again, the cash buyer invested $120,000. The fix and flipper invested $115,000. Let me show you their profits. For the cash buyer, they made $30,000. Okay, the fix and flipper made $35,000. So you'll see here the total profit and the total investment. You'll see that the cash buyer and the fix and flipper invested quite a bit as far as investment to the profit. Very small profit. Then you look to the note buyers to the far right, and if you look at Holly invested $9,000, Ron invested $110,000, just those 2. And if we go back, Holly made $400,000, Ron made $1.2 million. So you see that the note buyer invests a small amount to make a large. The house buyer, which is to the left, invests a large amount to make a small amount of profit. It's all good, profit's all good, but we're just looking at doing some analysis, okay? Looking at the statistics, the key performance indicators about investing in real estate. So let's move on to the next one. What we're going to do now is talk about the return on the investment. The return on the investment percentage is basically the profit in comparison to the investment. That's what that percentage is for. That's what ROI is. It is the comparison between the profit and the investment. So if you looked at Holly's note deal, her note deal, 4,444% as an ROI. Why? Because Holly invested $9,000. She profited $400,000. Let's go back and take a look again. Holly invested $9,000. Okay, and her profit was $400,000. So we'll go all the way back. We'll see the profit was $400,000 for Holly. Again, she invested $9,000. Okay, and as a percentage, that's 4,444%. If you look at Ron has a 1,090% ROI. Ron invested $110,000. Okay, and he made $1.2 million, and that's a 1,090% ROI. Far right, my third note, my first note I bought for $1,200. Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't do anything for a whole year until the title company contacted me and told me the owners were selling the property. Okay. and I made $9,200. That's a 768% ROI. So I'll go back, just play it one more time. Again, I invested $1,200, okay, for that third lien, $1,200, third lien. My profit was $9,227. As a percentage, that's a 768% ROI on a third mortgage. Okay, look at the 6 bulk notes. Again, the ROI is 551% on that. I invested $33,700. And I got back $185,900. Again, that's a 551% ROI. Now, the right side again is notes. Now, look to the left side. Look at the cash buyer. Look at the fix and flipper. Look at the percentage ROI. For the cash buyer, is 25%. The cash buyer invested $120,000 to make a $30,000 profit. Okay, let me take you back to that. The cash buyer again invested $120,000 and their profit was $30,000. That's how they get a 25% ROI. So again, $120,000 for the cash buyer. Look at the fix and flipper, the rehabber. They invested $115,000. So again, let's just talk about the cash buyer. Invested $120,000, made a $30,000 profit. The ROI on that is 25%. Okay, now, I'm not trying to downplay buying houses or upplay notes. This is just a graph to see how and where and track the results of your investments, which is a great idea, okay? Because this gives you the insight to, you as a real estate investor and how you see things. So you can always compare your deals to these deals and say, okay, hey, look, where do I want to spend my time at? What is more profitable for me? As far as investing money, do I want to invest a lot of money? Do I want to invest a little money? It's a nice crystal ball into your finances when you can see the charts and see the numbers. That's what I love about the KPIs and what I'm showing you. So again, return on investment's the third pancake, if I wanted to say that. We started out with profit. We did investment. Now we're talking about return on investment. Next is the profit margin percentage. And what is the profit margin percentage? The profit margin percentage is the comparison between the profit you make and the value of the property. The profit you make and the value of the property. So let's go to the left, and I'll do the cash buyer first. The cash buyer, the value of the property was $150,000. That was the ARV, $150,000. Now, the profit that the cash buyer made was $30,000. Okay, ARV 150, the profit was $30,000. If you multiply $150,000 by the 20%, you will see that's $30,000. So I'll just work this one deal. Again, 150 was the after repair value, and 20% is the profit margin, which gives you a $30,000 profit. So all I'm going to look for the cash buyer is a $30,000 profit. Again, 150,000 times 20% is $30,000. There it is. Okay, and the cash buyer, $30,000 is the profit. So the profit margin on this deal, if anybody ever asks, hey, what is your profit margin? Is 20%. 20% of the value, okay, brings me in a $30,000 profit. Okay, same way for the fix and flipper. The fix and flipper has got a 23% margin. So if you multiply the $150,000 by 23%, that will give you $35,000 as the profit. Okay, there's the fix and flippers profit. Okay, and again, 23% on the profit margin. So let's go all the way to the right. Holly's note, she produced a 70% profit margin percentage. And what that means is this: the value of the property, okay, was $570,000. Holly sold the note for $400,000. $400,000 is 70% of the 570. So 70% of the deal is Holly's profit. 70% of the deal is Holly's profit. Let's go to Ron. Ron's profit is 92%. So Ron's deal, the value was $1.3 million. $1.3 million. Ron invested $110,000. Okay, and that left a $1.2 $1.2 million profit. 1.2 is 90%, 92% of 1.3. So 92%, that's a high profit margin deal that Ron did, that commercial deal when he invested $110,000 and made a $1.2 million profit. That is a high profit deal when you start to look at those numbers, okay? So again, this gives us different ways of looking at our real estate investment strategy. So far, we're on our fifth pancake, or our fifth level. So again, let's go all the way back to the beginning. We got profit, okay? And then on top of profit, we might have investment. Then we have the return on investment. Then we have the profit margin percentage, okay? Next, time to get the investment back on this deal. Now, there's no particular order of how you do this. The thing of it is, you print out a spreadsheet. It's similar to McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's franchise, they know every single details about every single item on the menu. Let's take a McDonald's fish sandwich, for example. McDonald's will sell that fish sandwich for $1. A fish sandwich at McDonald's, they'll sell it for $1. It takes 80 cents for all the ingredients, the bun, the mayonnaise, the advertisement to run the ads on TV. So their total investment's 80 cents. Once they sell it for $1, they'll make 20 cents. So McDonald's knows every fish sandwich, they'll make a 20-cent profit. Okay, that equates to a 20% profit margin and a 25% ROI. So every time they sell a fish sandwich, they know they're going to make 20 cents. That's a 20% profit margin and a 25% ROI. So if they sell 100 or 1,000 or 2,000 fish sandwiches, all they have to do is press a button and it'll tell them exactly what their profit is, what their expenses is, and McDonald's will do that for every single item on the menu. And that's what makes McDonald's such a very popular and such a very good financial model, and it puts a high value on McDonald's because, again, they're a professionally run business. Our real estate investing business should be the same way. Okay, we should know that when we try to buy a house, maybe you're looking for, on this particular situation, looking for 20%. If the house is flipped to you, a 20% profit margin and a 25% ROI. That's what you shoot for. And notes is, it has so many variables, but at least you should know what numbers you're trying to shoot for that will produce a return that will make you happy. So again, we're talking about time to get the investment back. If we look at Holly's deal, it took Holly 1 year, okay, to do this deal. She invested $9,000, made $400,000, okay? It took her 12 months. Ron's deal took 1 hour, and you can't see 1 hour. You can't see a yellow graph for 1 hour, okay? But he did that deal in 1 hour. He's sitting with the bank negotiating. The bank was owed $850,000 on that note deal. Property was worth $1.3 million. The bank was owed $850,000. They were asking $300,000. Ron offered $110,000 on a Tuesday. The bank accepted. Okay, I trained him on a Saturday and Sunday because he said he wanted to buy a note, didn't have any experience. He went in on Tuesday. They were asking $300. He offered $110, and he closed that deal within an hour. Okay, awesome. Now, third lien. I told you guys I bought a third lien for $1,200. I got paid back $9,227 1 year later because I didn't try to do anything because I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I went to a seminar and the guru said, hey, buy notes because it helps you get into the back door of owning the real estate. Didn't have a clue what he was talking about, but I did it because he was an expert, and as an expert I wanted to listen, and I ran into notes and I started buying. Okay, one of the best things I ever did was listen, and I did it. I took action on what that guru was teaching me. So if you go all the way to the far left, you'll see the cash buyer. The cash buyer, again, a wholesaler flipped in the deal. The cash buyer fixed it up, got it sold in 60 to 90 days. Okay, same way with the fix and flip. Fix and flip like they do on HGTV. That person found the deal. They did everything from start to finish, closed it out in 60 to 90 days, and that's how they made that $35,000 of profit. Time to get the investment back, okay? That's another key performance indicator at what I look at. Well, how long will it take to get my investment back, okay? And how long did it take actually on these deals? Next, It's called the payback period. When I invest my money, when you invest your money, and depending on what percentage you will know how long it takes to get your investment back. So I don't care if you're investing $1, $100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. If you invest that amount of money at 8%, okay? If you take that money and you invest and you're getting 8%, it will take you 150 months to get your investment back. If you invested at 14%, you'll get your money back in 86 months. Okay? This is something I do with landlords. As a landlord, we shoot for a 14% on our investment. And if we're getting that 14%, whatever the monthly rent will be at 14%, it will take us 86 months to get that investment back. So I'll give you an example. If you buy a property and you invest $115,000 into buying the property, the closing costs, the total investment, your offer, flip fee if that's involved, and your repairs, comes out to $115,000, and let's say the rent is $1,341. At $1,341 is my 14% return. If I get $1,341 a month for 86 months, I'll get my $115,000 back. Okay? Again, it doesn't matter what the amount is. If you invested at 25%, it's going to take 48 months to get your investment back. Okay? And again, at 30%, 40 months. Okay? I bought a second note. I paid $10,000 for it. I got $454.42 a month, which came out to $5,453 for a year. That was my annual profit that I received from buying that note at $10,000. That gave me a 54% return on my investment. Took me 22 months to get my investment back. Wow, can you guys see how powerful just knowing your numbers is? How you look at deals and analyze it, doing the statistics, looking the data, the key performance indicators, okay? Doing the analysis. This is how you have longevity as a real estate investor. You start getting your system down and your processes to where you operate similar to what McDonald's does, okay? So now we're talking about the payback period. And again, let's go back and review. I'm talking about all the different ways that you can look at your investment. If you look at a house, if you look at a note, how do you break it down to ensure that you make a profit and you cut down the risk of losing because you're always looking at the data? Okay, let's go all the way back and I'll start over again. I can't remember which one I'm on, what number I'm on, but from the beginning. Total profits, number one, is what we look at. Number two, total investment. Again, not in any particular order. Number three is the return on my investment. What is it going to be? The return on my investment. Number four, what is my profit margin percentage? What profit am I shooting for depending on the value of the property? Again, a 20% profit margin for a cash buyer. If I was buying if there was $1 million ARV on a property that I found, if I'm a cash buyer and my profit margin is 20%, then I want my profit to be $200,000. $800,000 is going to be the offer. It's going to be the repairs. It's going to be the closing costs. It's going to be a flip fee if there's one involved. Again, I think I said repairs. And that's pretty much going to cover all the expenses to acquire the property, $800,000. So anytime, again, I'm looking for a property as a cash buyer and it's being flipped to me, I'm looking for a 20% profit margin. So I just multiply the ARV times 20%, and that should be my profit. 80%, the other remaining 80%, again, that's going to be my expenses, my investment, the repairs, all the other expenses involved in this. So this is number four, I do believe. Yes, number four is profit margin. Number five, time to get investment back. Number six is the payback period. So when I invest my money, well, how long is it going to take to get my money back? So we're at number seven now, equity. Is there equity in the property? And equity, okay, is a cushion. Equity is, it's kind of hard to explain, but it helps with my analysis. If I have equity, then that makes that investment even better to do. Houses with no equity, I've been able to do those houses also and make a profit simply because when there's no equity or when the house is upside down, I like to buy the loan at a discount to create the equity. Okay, and I'm not going to get into a whole lot of details, but this is, again, my 19 years of teaching real estate. Since 2001, I've been teaching investors how to make money and build wealth and invest in real estate, get rich and be a millionaire. Okay, bought my first house when I was 20 years old, and I've been in real estate for quite a long time. Love it. I love going through, teaching and helping people. Again, seeing my students become very successful financially so they can improve their lives. It's a great honor to be a teacher. So again, let's talk about the equity. Holly's deal, again, those numbers are wrong. It should be 570. She had a property, $570,000 worth of value. She bought the note for she bought the note for $9,000. She sold it for $400 to a cash buyer, a fix and flipper. She sold it for $400, but she left $170,000 of equity into the deal for the buyer. Now that equity, once the property is sold, can be profit. Equity and profit, they're not the same, but they're kind of treated that way. Okay? So she left $170,000 of equity. Ron, his property is worth $1.3 million. He bought it for $110,000. Okay? There was $1.2 million of equity in that property. Now, if you look toward the third lien, if you look toward 6 bulk notes, I did not keep track of what the value of those properties were on those notes. That's why you don't see anything as far as the graph for equity. Let's go all the way to the left for the cash buyer and the fix and flipper. Okay? The cash buyer buys the property. The total investment is $120,000. When they sell the property, that $30,000 is going to be their profit. Same thing with the fix and flipper. They buy for $115,000. They're going to fix it up. They're going to sell it. That $35,000. The difference between the $115,000 and the $150,000 is $35,000. Theoretically, it's equity, but once it's sold, it's profit. To better understand that, look at the landlord. The landlord's going to purchase the property for $115,000. The value is $150,000. $35,000 is the equity because the landlord's not going to sell the property. The landlord's going to rent it out. The landlord's going to rent it out again at 14%, at $1,341 a month. Okay? And if they rent out for 86 months, the landlord will get their investment back, that $115,000 that they invested. They'll get it back in 86 months. So again, equity is a cushion. It's nice to have. It's not mandatory. And you can create equity out of thin air by buying notes at a discount. Okay? Next, buying real estate on the dollar. Holly, look at hers. Okay, at the far right, you'll see notes. You'll see the bank. Being the bank is to the right. To the left, you'll see a rental property that I own, and I rented it out. And the tenants that were there got hooked on methamphetamine. There was pit bulls all around this property. Guess who cleaned it up? I did. I went in and cleaned that whole property up. It took me a while. It was brutal. But I wasn't willing to sell that at a discount to the house flippers. Okay, I was more determined to keep that property, get it fixed up, get it rented out again so it continually give me cash flow. That's a golden goose. Kept laying those golden eggs, okay, because, again, that property's paid off now. And the thing of it is, I didn't want to sell it at a discount to the house flippers. So I went in and did all the work. Again, I'm a carpenter. Okay, I'm a journeyman carpenter, and I love working on my houses. I love fixing them up. Got some U-Hauls, and I took everything to the dump. So let's take a look. Holly, she bought her note for 2 cents on the dollar. 2 cents on the dollar. So what does that mean? She invested $9,000 in the note. Okay, and you divide it by the $400,000 of profit that she made. That's how you get 2 cents on the dollar. Again, you take the $9,000 that she invested into the note, you divide it by the $400,000 of profit, and then you have to multiply by 100, which is going to move the decimal point, okay? So that's 2 cents on the dollar that Holly bought a note for. Ron, he bought his note for 9 cents, okay? Bought it for 9 cents on the dollar. Ron invested $110,000. He divided by his profit, which is 1.2. That gives 9 cents on the dollar. The third note that I bought, okay, again, I invested $1,200, and I divide that by the 9,200 that I made, 9,227 to be the exact number, and that gives you 13 cents on the dollar. Let's talk about those 6 notes. The 6 notes to the left, where you see I paid 18 cents, I take the $33,700 that I invested. I got back 185,900. Multiply that by 100, that gives you 18 cents on the dollar. Look at what we're buying notes for to the far right. Now, as note buyers, look to the left and you'll see what we're buying houses at. What people are buying houses at, the price that's being paid. Look how high that is. Cash buyer will spend up to 80 cents on the dollar. Again, we talked about 20 cents being the profit. The fix and flipper, same thing, 76 on the dollar, okay? Which leaves, if you're paying 80 cents on the dollar, 76 on the dollar for real estate, it leaves a small profit margin and a small profit to you as an investor. There's a night and day difference of what you're spending. And again, buying the paper, buying the notes, you control the property. You don't own it. But when you buy the property and fix it up and flip it, you're owning the property. And you're paying, again, a high dollar amount, which leaves a small profit margin. Where you look to the right, we're paying a very small amount to buy the notes, but it's got a very high profit. Now, what's right, what's wrong? It depends on you. You're the investor. You pick and choose. But when you can see the data like this, it helps you be more, it makes you more, your eyes are open to how to invest and why you're investing, instead of you not knowing, you don't have any parameters, you're just kind of guessing and throwing stuff out, see if it sticks. You kind of work your numbers, you kind of back into or reverse engineer where you really want to be. So that's the key point of all these key performance indicators. It helps you become a better investor. It helps you become a smarter investor. It helps you make smarter financial decisions, again, so that you win versus losing. All right, so we got one more, and that's the multiplied and increase the investment. Again, Holly invested $9,000 and got a $400,000 profit. Holly multiplied her money 44 times. She gave him $9,000 and she got 44 times that back as a profit. That's pretty incredible. Ron, he multiplied his money 10 times. Again, he increased it $110,000 and he got back $1.2 million. Okay? My third note, again, I invested $1,200. A year later, I got 9,227. That means I 7x, I 7 times. I multiplied my money 7 times. And again, that's what a real estate investor does. That's what an investor does. An investor multiplies their money, they increase their money, they grow their money, they build wealth. The money does the work for them. They're not working for money, because if you don't figure out a way to make money while you sleep, you will work for money for the rest of your life. Again, they say the rich don't work for money. Okay, you have to learn, how do you get your money to work for you? How do you get your money to multiply and increase and grow so that you can build wealth, so that your investments are going to pay for your livelihood. Your investment pays for your living expenses, so you don't have to go out and work for money. The passive cash flow from your investments pays for your living expenses. Now, if you look to the left, the cash buyer and the fix and flip, they didn't multiply their money. Again, we talk about the cash buyer investing $115,000. Okay, they needed $115,000 to do the deal. The fix and flipper needed $120,000. The profit they got for fixing the property up and selling it, just like they do on HGTV, the cash buyer makes $30,000. So if you put up $115,000 and you get $115,000 back, and you get your $35,000 of profit, okay, you didn't multiply the $115,000, your initial investment. So again, they're not even on the charts. Again, I'm not downplaying any of it. I just want you guys to see. I want you guys to have a crystal ball. Until you put things on paper and you start seeing graphs, you don't know really what you're doing. I remember one time I was switched over to a new data company for my internet service. And this was at the beginning of COVID. And they would send me a message, hey, you're getting close to using all of your data. You know, and it showed, they sent me a chart and it shows, hey, I see a red mark where I'm just about going over. I can't see that data. I can't see data. So only way I knew that I was really going over is to see a chart, you know, and it said, hey, look, you got 10 more days and you can only use a little bit of data, else you're going over. And I can see, I already knew that I was going to go over. But because of that chart, then that's how I knew that I was using data. It's just like your money. Well, what does your money do? What is your money doing right now? Are you Forexing your money, 6Xing, 3Xing, or 44Xing? On this one deal, Holly took $9,000 and she 44 times it. Well, wow, what does that look like 44 times? That's what it looks like. Wow, that's off the charts. Okay, so no matter what your money is doing, it's good that you guys can see it. That way you understand it and you know what's happening, so you can try to duplicate this process over and over and over again, similar to McDonald's. So there you go. Boy, those were the 9 key performance indicators. Again, you can use these KPIs to teach your children about investing, how to make their money grow, what an investor does, how to multiply and increase, okay, how to manage your money as far as being an investor. And it's good you teach your children financial literacy, okay, because they're going to have to handle their money. Do you want them to think like a consumer, or do you want to think like an investor? And as a parent, we got to come up with ways to teach our children, come up with games, come up with analytics and data, okay, to increase their financial intelligence and their financial education. So I'm going to go through this one more time. I talked about the 15 deals on the bottom, and I talked about the 9 KPIs that we use as investors. So I'm going back to the top, going through one more time. Really enjoy this. Okay, boom. Total profit. What is the profit that you make? What is the profit that you want to make? What is the profit you're shooting for? What was the profit of these actual 15 deals? What did we invest? What was the total investment in these deals? What was the return on the investment? What was the correlation between what the profit was and what we invested and what it is as a percentage? What is the profit margin percentage? Profit margin percentage is simply the profit in comparison to the value of the property. Okay, the value of the property is X. If again, it's $1 million, and as a cash buyer, you're shooting for a 20% profit margin, then that means that's going to be a $200,000 profit. It doesn't matter. Whatever dollar amount it is, you multiply it by the 20%. Okay, and that's what the cash buyer shoots for. Well, how long does it take to get your money back on the deal? If you're fixing and flipping, hey, it's going to take 30, 60, 90 days, whatever time it takes to get it done. Okay, so this is the actual time it took to get that investment back. Now, again, if I'm investing my money, no matter what amount of money it is, 1,000, 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, if I invested at any of those percentages right there, it will take that amount of time to get that money back. Okay, so that helps you when you start investing to know that, hey, look, when I want to make an offer on a note, and if I can get that note at a 54%, if I can get that note to produce 54%, and I'll show you again, I bought a second note for $10,000. The monthly payment was $454.42. Okay? If you take that $454.42, you multiply by 12, which is going to be the annual profit, that's $5,453. That is the profit, annual profit. You divide that by the investment, which is $10,000. That will give me a 54% return on my money. It will take me 22 months to get my $10,000 back. How do I know that? You take $10,000, you divide it by the monthly payment, which is $454.43, $454.43 or 42, $454.42, $454.42 divided into the 10,000, and you'll see 22 months. That's how we look at money, okay? That's how you understand money. How to manage your money also. Okay, next thing we have equity. Equity is another thing I look at. What are we buying for on the dollar? Multiplied and increased your investment. I took my money, I invested it, because I'm an investor, and I made that money grow. I made it multiply. I increased it so that I can build wealth so that my money is working for me. All right, you guys. Hey, that is it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I love teaching. I love going deeper into my content so that I become a better teacher, a better coach, a better mentor, a better trainer. And I love creating content to share so that people can understand, hey, look, if you want to learn how to invest, this is the way it's done. There's a lot of analytics that go into this. It's not just, hey, make a wild guess. It's not how I feel. It's not about emotion. It's about the analytics, the data, the key performance indicators, so you can make smart business decisions and run your business similar to McDonald's. Hey, wishing you guys success, health, happiness, and prosperity. Terry Bontemps. We'll see you on the other side.